In the early 1930s, during the Great Depression, a young waitress named Bonnie Parker met a drifter named Clyde Barrow in Dallas, Texas. Bonnie was just 19, Clyde 21. Both came from poor families. Both carried restless hearts. Their meeting wasn't just chance, it was destiny. Clyde had already begun slipping into petty crime, stealing cars and robbing small stores. Bonnie, on the other hand, longed for a life bigger than the cafe table she served at. She was drawn to Clyde's charm, his daring attitude, and his promise of adventure. What began as attraction quickly grew into something stronger, a partnership in love, and eventually, in crime. The world was about to witness one of the most infamous duos in history, a story where romance and rebellion were intertwined, impossible to separate. As their love deepened, so did their connection to crime. Clyde hated the poverty and hopelessness of the Depression era. He dreamed of escaping through fast cars, guns, and money. Bonnie, hopelessly in love, joined him. Together, they robbed small stores, gas stations, and eventually banks. Unlike the ruthless gangs of the time, Bonnie and Clyde were seen by some as rebels against a broken system. Newspapers painted them as glamorous outlaws, lovers on the run. But behind the headlines was a reality far from glamorous: constant running, hunger, and danger around every corner. Still, they clung to each other. For Bonnie, Clyde was worth every risk. For Clyde, Bonnie was not just his partner in crime, but his soulmate. Bonnie and Clyde never acted alone. They formed the Barrow Gang, with Clyde's brother Buck and others joining in. Their photos, Bonnie posing with guns and cigars, Clyde looking confident, were discovered by police and splashed across newspapers. America became fascinated. To some, they were dangerous criminals. To others, modern-day Robin Hoods rebelling against banks that had ruined lives. Their image captured the imagination of a struggling nation. But behind the photos was a darker truth: gun battles with police, near-death escapes, and endless days on the run. Fame came at a heavy cost, and every heist brought them closer to the inevitable end. By 1933, the Barrow Gang was hunted relentlessly. Shootouts became frequent. Friends turned into informants. The dream of living free began to crumble under the weight of their crimes. Bonnie was injured in a car accident, her leg badly burned, but she refused to leave Clyde's side. Authorities across multiple states coordinated to track them. Police were no longer chasing petty criminals. They were hunting infamous outlaws, who had embarrassed law enforcement time and time again. Yet, even in the face of fear and pain, Bonnie and Clyde's bond never broke. They wrote poems, professed their love, and promised to stay together until the end. And that end was getting closer with every passing day. On May 23, 1934, in rural Louisiana, the law caught up with Bonnie and Clyde. A group of Texas and Louisiana officers set up an ambush, waiting on a quiet road, where they knew the couple would pass. That morning, Clyde drove their stolen Ford V8, Bonnie by his side. As their car approached, lawmen opened fire. Over 100 bullets tore through the vehicle. Bonnie and Clyde were killed instantly, their story ending in a storm of gunfire. They were just 23 and 24 years old. Their bodies were paraded before the public, and their story became legend. To some, they were reckless criminals who destroyed lives. To others, they were symbols of love, rebellion, and the desperation of the Depression era. Decades later, the story of Bonnie and Clyde still captures imaginations. Their love story was dangerous, tragic, but unforgettable. They died together, just as they had lived.